Greetings. It's time for Insanity's Antidote, the lightning rod for human lunacy. I certainly love that one. Your booster shot for the head games of the intellectually challenged. Your personal freedoms line in the sand. It's Brian. I'm in, and very glad you joined us for today's ride. So let's get ready to mortal up. Good morning and welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show. Hope everyone's doing great. You know, and we've been thinking a lot about this lately. We've been taking emails, taking suggestions over on Twitter and here on Mug Pamphlet. But so we may very shortly be moving to an evening show. We're going to wait and see. We'll see what the numbers are, see what we can do. But we really want to be able to do program here at the Brian Brawdy Show that reflects that just reflects the concept of mortal up, right? That suggests that fear is the ultimate solvent for the human mind. Fear is set up to where it just strips away everything. It strips away your vision. It crushes your heart. It definitely perforates the girth. It begins to just peel away at the girth of the human spine. So with all the craziness going on in the world, we're not going to do What Am I Missing Today? We're not going to do Lowlife's Making Headlines today. We're going to focus predominantly on the time that we have together on Mortal Up. We want to get a couple of business things out of the way. Please remember that you can jump on over to mortalup.com. It's brianbrawdy.com, allnaturalbeing.com. If you're the old school, like me, right? We all get together, listen to the Grateful Dead, wear tie-dye t-shirts. If you're old school, you can go to allnaturalbeing.com. If you're brand new, you can come to brianbrawdy.com or mortalup.com. Also, you can sign up. We do a daily blog and blurb, which is a little bit of writing. But with everyone's so busy now, right? So we do an audio version as well, so you can just get that and be dropped right in your mailbox. You open it up and you go, oh, well, that's a different way of looking at things, which is our promise to you, that it'll be a different way of looking at things. All right, so we got that out of the way. Also, we're working really hard. Wayne's everyone's working really hard at brianbrawdy.associates to get our Sunday show up and going. And we're really excited about that. Look, we were joking around yesterday that I'm going to go online and get certified to be a preacher, right? So I guess if things get bad, I can do weddings in the driveway, right? I want to keep 6 feet, want social distance. Oh, thank you. You know what? I forget. You know what causes me to remember the gong? I go to hand gesture and I bump into it. So for everyone that says, where's the gong? Where's the gong? Where's the gong? Thank you very much. My mom, listening down, will be very happy, but here's the gong. All right, so that's a little bit of business we get out of the way. All right, so the gong is gone. So in any event, we were thinking, oh, well, wouldn't that be funny? I'd go online and get a preacher's. Can't even say it with a straight face. I get a preacher's certificate, right? And then I can do Sunday morning services. But what we really hope to do, what we really truly want to do, is remind you of who you ultimately are. So that's what I want to do. But before we get into that, before we get into the bulk of our Mortal Up show today, I want to thank the good folks at Gehenna, the Red Cross, see? Gehenna Red Cross. Yesterday afternoon, I went over there. Parking lot's packed. Everyone's lined up. You got to get an appointment. But all the good folks that seamlessly got me through, you get your temperature checked and you do the platelets, you do this, you do that. But in any event, seamlessly got me through the blood donation process. All the people that were there. Look, not only the staff, they deserve a huge amount of credit. There's like 20 of them, and they're working around the clock. But how about all the people? It wasn't a particularly great day. I think it was raining here in the suburb that we are of Columbus. I think it was raining here. It was a particularly great day. Every chair full. Every table where you put your, the only negative critique that I have, that it was the tape they used to wrap your arm when you were done was red. Right? St. Patrick's Day. Well, couldn't it have been green? That was, and there is one other suggestion that I would make if anyone, as they said, we'll all be listening tomorrow morning. If anyone from the Red Cross is listening to the show, when you go through the process, right, you have to answer like 400 questions, but it goes fast. I promise it goes fast because you do it online. There's a little speed pass, iPass, whatever it is, Red Cross pass online. You do it online so that when you get in, they go, oh, just show me your little QR code. You show the QR code and you're right in. But it wasn't until after I donated and I did this and I go, do you need platelets? Do you need plasma? Do you need bloods? I got tubes running all out of me, right? It's like being back in the hospital again. And I know the people that are upset when I call it the Columbus Cranium Shack and Needle Emporium. So there it is. I'm living up once again to calling it what it is. The Columbus Cranium Shack and Needle Emporium. All right. So all these tubes running out of you, right? And you go through all this, you go through, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you traveled here? Have you traveled there? You're not allowed to say you traveled to Wuhan because it's not a Chinese virus. You and I know better. Come on. Who would still be calling it Wuhan virus? Who would even say that? In any event, you're not allowed to say Wuhan virus. You're not allowed to do all these other things. But you get through the entire process, and they go, oh, and don't forget, you can't drink for 24 hours. And I go, wait a minute. You schedule me on St. Patrick's Day. You ask me all of these questions, a whole battery of questions. And you think after I've donated the blood to tell me, oh, well, even with the social distancing in effect here in the state of, how I'm out of here, even with the social distancing rules that are in place, you'd think, okay, it's not like I was going to run to a pub, but they waited till the very last minute. They got their blood out of me, and then they go, no pint for you. We're happy to take your pint, but you can't have a drink for 24 hours. So, of course, as I always do, I listen to the advice of my doctors. I can't even say it with a straight face. But in any event, if you're going to donate blood, know that they're going to tell you no drinking for 24 hours after they damn near drain you. All right, so thank you to everyone. I'm just joking. I had a fantastic experience. They told me I think it's like 52 days before I go back. I'd be back there again today. I feel great, and I just wanted to thank everyone. Just for mortaling up, just all the people that showed up and all the staff, everything. So I've done that. All right. So can we just talk a little bit about the hysteria going on? I want to go, and again, we'll save all the segues and this and that and everything else. We'll just jump right into it today. So mortal up. Mortal up means that no matter what fate throws at you, right? You remember who you ultimately are. You remember your buried logic. You remember your authentic grit. You remember the very marrow of your mind and go, look, I'm a part of the humanity clan, and we've been surviving since the beginning of our time here on this planet. So mortal up means that you go, yeah, great, this is what's going down. And we did a little thing this morning. If you want to listen in on the audio, you can go to brianbrawdy.com or here on the show page. You got to know fear, right? And what mortal up does is it allows you to understand what fear truly is. Fear is your response to an incoming message, right? So you read your environment, incoming message. You decide whether A, the fight or flight or freeze, right? We know that now, the fight, flight, or freeze chemicals, all these chemicals that your brain secretes to put you in a position to sprint, to punch it out, or to, right, be petrified. You have to decide there's only two ways to go. Do you use those chemicals so that you have a level-headed response to the incoming, right, information? Or B, your other option is you let the chemicals use you. And you run around like a crazed person. I'm afraid, 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 I'm afraid. And then the chemicals, it's just a self-repeating loop. Chemicals call and go, hey, we've got some fear going on here. I need more chemicals. Remember Scotty from Star Trek? Oh, I'm giving it all I've got, Captain. Right? Here's my St. Patrick's Day joke. My Irish is horrible. You would think I'd know how to do the accent. I'm giving it all I got. Scotty, I need more power. Right? And then your brain goes, hey, I need more chemicals. And so we literally work ourselves into a lather because of incoming information. So I said in this morning's post, fear is an over-communication problem. Right? You are overly reading the incoming message. Now, if you decide, and you've heard me say it before, the best acronym, breathe in, exhale your name, scan your eyes, and then take action. If you decide in that moment to mortal up, you go, okay, I have an incoming stimulus, but I decide who's driving the bus. Remember that old commercial, go Greyhound and leave the driving to us? Well, your chemicals, your fight, flight, and freeze chemicals, they're singing that song. That ditty is playing in your head the whole time. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us. Your chemicals want to hijack your head. Now, that's going to lead us to the second part we're going to talk about. The chemicals want to hijack your head. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what they're there for. The chemicals, when everyone says, well, you're just crazed. Well, that's what your mind is trying to do. Now, here's the second part of what mortal up means. Understand what those chemicals are trying to do. And I'm just as guilty of it as the next one, of a very tongue-in-cheek going, don't buy into the hype, right? The World Hype Organization. Oh, and don't believe that just because China is the number 2 funder of the World Health Organization, just because China was able to get the WHO to not include Taiwan in a separate briefing, because the brainiacs running the show in China would think, well, if we give Taiwan their own briefing, that really means they are their own country. So forget the World Hysteria Organization, right? They're not run by the Chinese Communist Party. What kind of crazy conspiracy theory are you talking about? All right, but when we talk about buying into the hype, remember that your body's one job, and this may help, right? News you could use as opposed to most of the news, which you can lose. When you say, right, if you're looking in the mirror, you're sitting there and you have this incoming information, and just before your initial contact point, right, if you're in the military, you recognize what the term the contact point means, that initial response where the incoming stimuli, in some cases it was around, but that incoming stimuli hits, then you go on guard, right? You have made contact with the enemy. When that stimulus comes in, remember that all your mind is trying to do, where everyone says, well, it doesn't do any good to be scared. Sure it does. It could save your life if you're being run down by a hungry lion, right? Of course it does you some good. What it doesn't do, or when it stops doing you good, is when you allow those chemicals to hijack your head, right? When those chemicals take over your cognitive cockpit, right? All bets are off. So here's what can I just tell you what I've done through all the different things that I've been subject to of late, all the different hurdles. Well, I'll just tell you what I did. When that stimulus comes in and you want to be panicked, right? When you want to, what do you do when that stimulus comes in? If you want to be like me, you go, I want to turn that dread on its head. What are you going to do? What I do, and I know this is crazy, but, if you saw the first show, you can't spell Brian without the I in idiot, right? What I do is I just say, hey, I super appreciate that you want to get all worked up. I'm talking to myself now, right? I super appreciate that you want to get all worked up. I super appreciate the chemicals. I super appreciate, because ultimately the ego and your chemical, right, from the limbic system, your chemical immune system, all it's trying to do is save your sorry butt. Right? All it's trying to do is save my sorry tuchus. Right? So if in that moment you go, hey, I super appreciate it. Thanks for watching my back. Thanks for secreting those chemicals. Now, I get that you're watching out for me. Well, wait, time out a minute. Would you mind if I tried another way? Would you mind if I didn't get all worked up? Would you mind if I didn't get hysterical? Would you just mind? Thank you for the chemicals. I appreciate it. But could I maybe, just maybe, hear me out here, chemicals, could I redirect my response so it's a little more level-headed, right? And then what I've found through years of dealing with this, and someone asked me the other day over the head with a frying pan, because I came home, I think it was in first grade or second grade. It doesn't matter, right? But in any event, my mom, I came home, found my mom with a black eye, and decided, yeah, I'm not going to have any more of that, right? So I think that was my first understanding of what it means to be a survival expert. But in all these years that I've been studying it, and ultimately since my dad's suicide, I've studied what causes a human being to turn on itself and fear and panic and letting those chemicals hijack your own cognitive cockpit. That, in effect, is you turning on yourself. When you turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to what you're ultimately capable of, outside of the hype, outside of the chemicals, then you're in command of the show. And I think back to my times in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. I think back to my times in the Everglades or in Denali or, Yellowstone in the depths of winter or Death Valley in the depths of summer. What I've always been able to do is you go, oh man, this is just brutal, right? But how do you and I out-brutal the brutal? We say to ourselves, thank you, chemicals. We pay witness to the ripped out from underneath them. But you and I survived long before there were rugs on the floor. That's all I'm saying. So even though it may feel at the micro level that the rug has been ripped out from underneath us, you and I have the ability, right, to quell, to calm the chaos and go, yes, it's bleak, but I'm here to out-brutal the brutal. I'm here to make sure that I'm the one driving the bus. So psychologists the world over will tell you that if you at least pay homage, you pay heed for a moment to those emotions, that the emotions don't have to keep secreting the chemicals, because the emotions are like, I'll get a hold of her attention. Oh yeah, Brian thinks he can ignore me. Take this. Right? And psychologists the world over now tell us, right, and I'm not a psychiatrist, they have been telling us all these years, is that when you at least acknowledge, yeah, this is a shitstorm. Yeah, right, the rug's being ripped out from underneath me. Yeah, there's all kinds of craziness going on in the world. When you at least acknowledge it, those chemicals and the emotions that try to hijack your mind, they go, well, we got his attention. Hey, look, we got all day. Why not? If we got him, right? We'll go do something else and let her see if she can bring a more level-headed approach, right? If we can, like, you see that when a fire hose gets loose and it just sprays all over the place. Well, that's the chemicals in the mind of a crazy person, a person, and I'm not being pejorative. I'm just saying, in the one form, you direct it towards the base of the fire, you save the house, right? That's all I'm saying. So if your head is on fire and it's on the verge of burning to the ground, grab a hold of the hose, turn those chemicals loose in a productive way. And psychiatrists and psychologists, sociologists, whoever they are, now tell us that that's a great way of retaking the cockpit. Right? That's a great way of acknowledging those emotions. Does it suck? Absolutely. Is the world populated by a good number of asshats? Absolutely. So what are you and I going to do? Of Lewis and Clark, I think of the stories of any of the top minds in human history that were just up against insurmountable odds of success. I posted yesterday my favorite quote from, not Star Wars, what's the name of the movie? Hold on. See, this would have been a perfect time to do a little segue, because I could have gotten my mind back at that point. Oh, right, Lord of the Rings. And I said, Governor Gimli, superior fighting force, we're outnumbered, certain. But you get where I'm going with this. We channel our inner Gimli, and say to fate, that's all you brought? That's all that you're going to bring to try to knock me off? And when we out-brutal the brutal, when we mortal up, and as I've said all along, BYOB, when you bring your own bold, you are unstoppable. You're untouchable. Now, I guess I could very well save this for Sunday. Right? Maybe I will run out and get that little thing that says I'm a preacher. Look, whether you're a Taoist and you believe that the Tao follows its own path, or inshallah, if you're of the Muslim faith, if Allah wills, inshallah, right? If Allah wills. I always fall back on, thy will be done. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I've said this before. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For me, getting through what I've done of late, and through all these circumstances, I've believed that I'm bulletproof until the divine decides otherwise. Right? That this timeshare of a human body is mine until God, however you define God, till God calls me home. So we have all these people running around, and I'm getting slammed on Facebook, on Twitter, on this and that, although our numbers keep growing, so I don't know where the slamming comes from. They're trolls everywhere. But in any event, I'm getting slammed, and a lot of them are religious folks. And they go, well, and I go, okay, do you remember thy will be done? Do you remember? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Well, I want this. Well, who cares what you want? Well, I just feel, I'm sorry. Here's another timeout. Who suggested we care about your feelings? Look, there's not a day that I feel like getting out of bed. I don't even care about my own feelings. But I get out of bed every single day. I don't feel like getting up, getting dressed, and getting into the day. I'd like to kick back, relax, maybe get like an omelet in bed, read the newspaper, right? I'm a huge fan of the New York Crimes. That's like the third thing I've said I can't even say with a straight face. Now, that would have been a logo to put up, right? I'd like to kick back, put my feet on the floor, right into some slippers. That's what I feel I would like. Who cares what I feel? Who cares what you feel? It's not about our feelings. It's what we're going to do. right? To answer those feelings. I don't feel like doing a push-up. I don't feel like going to the store and I absolutely don't feel like getting the oil changed in my car. But do I do it? Yes, right? Probably a few miles over what the suggested oil change limit is, but I still do it. Do I feel like it? No, absolutely. Who cares about your feelings, right? You and I are going to out-brutal the brutal. But here's my question to all the people that are very pious, very religious, this or that. What happened to your concept of thy will be done? What happened to your concept of, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me? What happened to your concept of the Tao follows its own path? Look, do I think, as I said yesterday, that the Wuhan virus is the superbug that's going to kill everybody? No. Is there a superbug coming that'll knock a good percentage of us off the planet? Absolutely. Absolutely there is. But this isn't it. You and I will do more harm to ourselves, our families, and our future by letting our chemicals, our fight, flight, or freeze chemicals, letting our chemicals run the show. But the moment you decide, you know what? Here's the thing. We've talked about 20-minute victories for years now. I think Wayne said this was episode 460 some odd or 50 some. I don't know. We've been doing a lot of these episodes. We talk about 20-minute victories. All I'm asking for is 1/72nd of your day. If after 1/72, it's like a pie, right? A 24-hour period is divided into 70.
Right.
Pardon me?
466.
466? Well, told you I was insane. Now I'm hearing voices. 466, right? So episode 466, I've talked about this 1,000 times, I'll bet, within your 24-hour day. Thank you, Wayne, by the way. Your 24-hour day is divided into 20, right? 72 20-minute chunks. So do me a favor. Just let me have 20 minutes. Give yourself a 20-minute victory and try this. When you want to get panicked, let's do this. One more time. Here's a 20-minute victory. You breathe in. Now, in some of the most confrontational situations I've been in, you got to do this kind of rapidly, right? So we'll call it a 20-second victory. But just for the next 20 minutes, practice this. Give me 1/72nd of your day, and I promise it will change your life. You breathe in. I like to breathe in through the nose because when you breathe in through your nose, you communicate to your body, wait a minute. Body goes, she just took a breath through her nose. How panicked can she really be? She's not a mouth breather. Right? So you breathe in through your nose. Now, I've always said the E in BEST, for the BEST acronym, the best chances of survival, the best chances of squaring your shoulders with fate, no matter what that is, the E stands for exhale your name. Now, why is it that I said exhale your name, right? So you breathe in, you exhale. Brian. Because doctors also tell us that if you have the presence of mind to remember who you are and where you are, chances are pretty good it communicates to the body, wait a minute, she's breathing in through her nose, she remembers who she is. Where's the 14 alarm fire? Why are we busy secreting all these chemicals? Then B-E, we get to the S in the acronym, the best chances of survival. Why do we say scan your horizon, scan your immediate environment, right? Scan your six. Why is that? One, because it's nice to know what you're up against. Absolutely true. I get that. But physiologically, when your eyes, you ever hear of tunnel vision, right? Tunnel vision, where you're so petrified, your body freezes, you become a mouth breather, and your eyes are like little beads, right? When you scan your horizon, you cause your eyes to move back and forth. It's another communication to your physiology that, wait a minute, she doesn't have tunnel vision. He's not petrified, standing in place, staring at a spot on the floor. Oh, don't look at the evil. Don't look at the brutal, right? You're not petrified. When you scan, your eyes move back and forth, up and down. And again, this can take a couple of seconds. Breathe in. Exhale. I'm Brian. Scan your horizon. And after you scan your horizon, and 3 different times now, you've communicated to the chemical production factory at the base of your brain, yeah, I get it, but he doesn't seem all that worked up. She doesn't seem all Twitter-pated, as my good friend Mike Morrow used to say. Twitter-pated, right? Shouldn't seem all worked up about it. Then the T in the BEST acronym is then you take action. Because at that point, you're the fireman holding on to the hose that heretofore was going crazy. Right? B-E-S-T, breathe in, exhale your name, scan your horizon, take action. You take action then once you have your wits about you. Once you're in a position to go, no, I'm going to bring my own bold, I'm going to use my chemicals to do it, and I'm going to mortal up. Because when I mortal up, I'm going to be able to out-brutal the brutal. That's the whole pitch. That's the whole thing. There's your 20-minute victory. And as we say every morning, if you're a member of the blog and blurb, and it's absolutely free, you can sign up at mortalup.com. If you're a member of the blog and blurb, I start off every morning. Welcome to your Ready to Remember. Because once you remember who you ultimately are, once you remember all the tools you come pre-equipped with, you're not like a Christmas toy, right? You're not like a toy you get at a kid's birthday party that said batteries not included. Bullshit. The batteries are already included. Your brawn is already included. Your authentic vigor, right? Your grit, the marrow of your very mind, it's already included. It's in you. Once you and I decide to remember who we ultimately are, outside of all the craziness, outside of all the chaos, outside of all the different outlets that are absolutely counting on you being watered down. Well, there's nothing about you that's watered down except your perception of yourself. Practice for 20 minutes. Breathe in, exhale your name, scan your horizon, then take action. That's your best chances for survival. Now, with everything that we have confronting us with COVID-19 and all the other hysterias, there's going to be, right, there's some heartache. But you and I don't have to make it a headache as well, right? Is there going to be a challenging time? Absolutely. Should we ignore it? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. All the hypesters, right? All the hysterical people running around. Well, I sure hope you're not being that cavalier when it comes to your own health. Look, all I'm simply suggesting is that I'm not going to run into the streets with what little hair I have left on fire. I'm going to decide to use those fight, flight, or freeze chemicals to my advantage, to the advantage of my family, to the advantage of the people around me. So if there's an older person in your neighborhood that you can go out and go, look, I'm sure you're terrified. I'm sure you don't want to go to the grocery store. I'm sure you don't want to do this. Is there anything I can do for you? Can I rake your leaves? Can I do this? Can I do that? Do you need some groceries? How you doing on toilet paper? I got a tractor trailer full. Oh, great. Could I use some? I didn't hoard it, right? So go to the people in your immediate circle, in your bubble, and say, what can I do to help? What can I do to be there for you? Because can I tell you why that sense of altruism will be so good for you? Because when you're busy helping another person, the little chemical conductor at the base of your brain goes, just how bad can it be? She's busy helping somebody else. Wait a minute, Chicken Little. Maybe the sky isn't falling. Listen, little boy crying wolf. How bad can it truly be if her first thought is to help someone in need? If his first thought is about his neighbors, how bad can it truly be? There you go. You're controlling the chemicals as opposed to the chemicals controlling you. All right. So as I say, don't forget to check out mortalup.com over here. Also on Facebook, we'll be reposting the show. It's free if you want to sign up. And we'll never give your email out to anybody. I don't even know if we will never do it. But in any event, it's free. You'll get your blog and blurb. A little bit of writing, a little bit of the audio in your mailbox. Also know that we're working on possibly, given everyone's suggestion, we're working on making this an evening show. An evening show. We're very excited about that. And then before we get ready to run, remember, when you out-brutal the brutal, there isn't anything you can withstand. Through all the lockdowns, all the social distancing, all the hysteria, all the panic, all of it. When you remember who you ultimately are, you say to your immune system, you got this. Why don't you go out and crush it, and I'll sit here on the couch and eat some pirate's booty and drink some Diet Pop. Not supposed to say that. All right, don't drink the Diet Pop. That phenylenoleniline, it's no good for you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us. Cue the close if you would, Wayne.